Welcome back, and well, hedge funds are still dumping their stock while retail investors keep the bull market alive. This is not just in relation to the stock market, it's also in relation to the crypto market because we are seeing immense buying across the board from retail, and retail sentiment is still at all-time highs saying, Cryptoviser, we're not in a bear market. Cryptoviser, we're not heading into a bear market. Well, in today's video, we're going to be exploring that and understanding where we are when we look at the psychological of market charts. Because I believe we are past the euphoria phase and potentially even past the complacency phase in the market. And we're going to be looking at both sides because at the end of the day, as I've been saying, we are trading against them. Who is them? This is the retail traders that never think the bull market is going to end. They never think that we're going to have a bear market again. And even the influencers who keep pushing these narratives that there is going to be no bear market, that we are not at the end of the bull cycle, that we haven't hit euphoria, and all of this other nonsense. Guys, the trend is your friend. Bitcoin has been trending down. The Bitcoin treasury companies have been trending down. The altcoins have all been trending down, and every little pump that we see in any of them, people are like, you see, we were right. The bull market is continuing. That is what we are trading against. When we see these fake pumps, we sell into them. When we see this liquidity entering the market, we take the money. This is what the whales are doing. And it's not just the whales, the hedge funds are doing this as well. This is the Cryptoviser podcast. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. That way you never miss a new video. We upload every single day to bring you the latest happening in the financial world. Also, do me a favor, give the video a free thumbs up. And if you have YouTube hype points down below, hype up this video. It helps in the YouTube algorithm. Let's get into today's video. We're trading against them. Now, guys, I want you to understand, like most of my viewers get it, right? But it's fascinating that how many people don't understand how this is. Like, people think that Michael Saylor keeps buying Bitcoin, that Tom Lee keeps buying Ethereum, and the price is going down. And they're like, no, the whales are not selling. It's like, well, they're buying it from somebody. So who are they buying it from? And there's no answer. No answer in sight. Anyway, in the stock market, professional investors have been using the market's record-setting run as an opportunity to take profits. Exit into the liquidity, right? You exit into strength and buy into weakness. While retail investors have been doing much of the heavy lifting in the latest run of the 3-year bear market, hedge funds and other institutional clients have been the biggest net sellers of single stock and ETFs this year, unloading more than $67 billion worth of equities in 2025. Retail investors have been the market's backbone, the most consistent dip buyers since 2020, a behavior forged during the pandemic rebound. The strategy has paid off handsomely for the S&P 500, reaching multiple all-time highs this year, but retail investors' steady flow of inflows of fresh capital during market pullbacks have positioned them ahead of many institutions who stayed cautious. Now, here's the deal. That is what we call a bull trap, because they think they're doing better because we keep hitting new highs, whether it's in the stock market or crypto markets, and they keep buying those dips. But the institutions have a lot more of the liquidity on the sell side than the dip buyers have on the buy side. And that's why I keep telling my viewers, we're going to wait. We're going to let them keep buying the dip because they will run out of money. And we are rotating into a bear market, and many of these assets are already in a bear market. Now, Fred, who is a well-known Bitcoin advocate, he on X recently said, did you sell? Now, this is a fairly small poll, but I want you guys to keep in mind, in the aggregate, this is very in line with the polls that I run on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/thecryptoviser, or click my logo down below, click on the posts tab, and you can see all of those polls down below that you can actually still vote in. 55% said no, they didn't sell. 12.5% said, I sure did 3 weeks ago, and 33% said they bought more. So as you guys can see, the retail investors who answer this poll, and very similar on my channel, are saying they're continuing to buy, are saying they're not selling anything. Well, I think that this is not the greatest, thesis or strategy, because I mean, every single indicator is telling us the bull market is over. And again, we're talking about the macro, the zoomed out picture. Now, this influencer on X said this. He said Bitcoin had a death cross today. Note that prior death cross marked local lows in the market. Of course, when the cycle is over, the death cross rally fails. The time for Bitcoin to bounce, if the cycle is not over, will be starting within the next week, basically by the end of November. If no bounce occurs within 1 week, probably another dump before a larger rally before the 200-day SMA, which would then mark a macro lower high. Now, I want you guys to listen to this, right? The death cross happened. This is a local low, but if it's not a local low, then we're going into a bear market. But if we do continue down, then it's bullish because then we're going to hit another local low. It's like, guys, this is all nonsense. The cycle is over, right? And continuing at all-time record highs, and I've been saying this since the middle of the year. People keep saying, Cryptoviser, you're wrong. This is not the top of the market, and it literally is the top. It's the all-time record highs, okay? $100,000 range is all-time record highs. And now you're the most bullish. You weren't bullish 2-3 years ago. You weren't this bullish 5 years ago. You weren't this bullish 10 years ago. You're this bullish now at the all-time record highs. And by the way, this influencer is one of the extended cycle influencers from the previous cycle that was completely and utterly wrong. You are going to be the exit liquidity if you are buying in the market. But on this channel, and many of my viewers, you guys are so ahead of the game, so ahead of all of this nonsense going on in the markets that we are trading against them. They are our exit liquidity if we're still even in the market or if we're trading the market. And then we have this influencer who said he bought Metaplanet at $3 and rode it all the way up and then all the way back down. And he's still more bullish on this stock more than anything he's holding for the last few years. Guys, what is the effing point if you're just going to hold onto a stock, watch it go up 5x, and then watch it come right back down to your buy price, and then just sit in it? Like, what is the point? I would like somebody to explain that to me because I don't get it. You guys get it. I mean, we're even lower than $3 now. So if we go to the 6-month chart, it went all the way up to $15. From $3 to 15, that's a 5x, right? So if you put in $10,000, now you have $50,000. You put in $100,000, now you have $500,000. Put in $1 million, now you have $5 million. And then you write it below your buy price, and you're showcasing this like, well, I'm the most bullish I've ever been. What is the point? That's like going to a steakhouse, getting like, the best steak they have. They bring it to the table warm. You say, you know what? I'm going to wait till it gets cold. Then you wait till it gets cold. Then you say, hey, can we warm this up again? Then it warms up again. And then you get it warm again. And then you say, I'm going to wait till it gets cold. And then you just never eat this. What is the point? What is the point? We are here to make money in the market. And so all of this other stuff is just noise. It's noise. Absolute noise. And I would think many of you guys agree with what I'm saying here on the channel. And if not, I would love to hear why you think not down below. And go look at the comments. There's going to be comments like, well, Cryptoviser, this time is different because the institutions are involved. It's like, no. The institutions are selling. Like, what are you not getting about this? But that is who we're trading against. They're always going to be bullish. So, okay, give us your money and stay bullish, and then we'll sell the top, buy the bottom, sell the top, buy the bottom, sell the top, buy the bottom, and you're just going to keep putting more and more money in and never take any profits? That doesn't make any sense. What is the point? What is the point? I think some people don't understand what the point of investing is. It's not to buy a stock, ride it up 5x, and then ride it back down to below your buy price, and then say you're the most bullish you've ever been. It's like you completely miss the cycle. You completely miss the cycle. Fascinating, right? Fascinating. And then we have the CEO of Bitwise, one of the Bitcoin ETF and other crypto fund issuers. He said, we talk about 4-year cycles, but the reality is the model is based on a bygone era of crypto. No, it's not. I mean, we've showed this Bitcoin halving chart over and over and over on this channel, and you guys get it. My viewers, you guys are literally so ahead of everybody. We're making more money than all of these influencers are making because they're not even buying or selling. They're just buying and holding forever. We're buying high, buying low and selling high. That's what we're doing. Anyway, so we've showed this Bitcoin halving chart over and over and over, and we called the top of the market like literally within a few months of the actual like the pico top. And I told my viewers over and over, go to my YouTube community tab, my YouTube post tab, and you will see. I mean, I literally posted. I said Bitcoin is never goes past its all-time high after the 550-day mark in the cycle. Cryptoviser, you're an idiot. Cryptoviser, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, it's playing out exactly as the halving chart shows. Guys, this is not rocket science. Like, I'm not a genius. I don't have like insider Bitcoin information. It's literally the easiest chart to understand. But they never show this chart. And why? Because they don't want you to know how the cycle runs. Because they want you to keep buying into the market. That way they can keep exiting. Because they are buying low and selling high. The whales are doing it. Anyway, so the Bitwise CEO said, since the launch of the Bitcoin ETFs and the new administration, we've entered a new market structure, new players, new dynamics, new reasons to buy and sell. I think there's a pretty good chance that we've been in a bear market for almost 6 months now and are almost through it. What? Bear market? I mean, maybe for altcoins, but bear market? Literally, Bitcoin just hit its all-time record high 1 month before I'm recording this video. And he says that we're in a bear market. This is the Bitwise CEO. He said the setup for crypto right now has never been stronger. And again, maybe altcoins have been in a bear market for 6 months, but they've been in a bear market because we had meme coins and celebrity coins and Haktua coin. That was the altcoin season. By the way, altcoin season was in 2024, not this year. And so Bitcoin is at all-time record highs. The stock market is at all-time record highs. And the CEO of Bitwise is saying that we've been in a bear market for 6 months. I mean, you guys cannot make this up. You can't make this up. But this shows where we are in the cycle, right? We're in the complacency phase, the anxiety phase, the denial phase, right? Oh no, we're not at all-time record highs. We've been in a bear market. It's like, no, we're at all-time record highs. That's not a bear market. Like, what? Anyway, moving right along to David Bailey, who is the CEO of Nakamoto. He said, you can't become battle hardened without seeing the battle. New Bitcoin all-time highs by the end of the year. Bookmark it. Yeah, we've bookmarked it. No all-time record highs for Bitcoin by the end of the year. We already hit the all-time record high in October. That's it. That's it. Cycle's over. People want to hold on and say, it's not Cryptoviser. It's not over. Okay, then keep buying. Remortgage your house and buy more Bitcoin then. We are trading against those people. That's what we're doing. That is what we're doing. And in the Ethereum world, Tom Lee, who's the CEO of Bitmine Immersion Technologies, this is one of the first Ethereum treasury companies that basically was a pump and dump because it pumped up on the news and then dumped right back down, right? So this user King said, I'm 100% positive Tom Lee regrets Bitminer. There was no pressure to make sure a specific crypto performed. He was just chilling, just could talk about the overall markets. Dude was a hero to some. Now he has the pressure of making sure one single crypto performs. If he doesn't, he gets backlash. And Tom Lee said, wrong. ETH is a super cycle. Basically confirming everything that King said in his post, except for the part that he regrets doing it. Listen, I have said since the beginning of the pandemic, Tom Lee is definitely an analyst to watch and listen to what he's saying, right? Because since the beginning of the pandemic, he has been right about how the market macro performs, not specifically crypto, just the regular traditional markets. But yeah, since he got into this whole Ethereum treasury thing, he is fiduciarily tied to making his ETF or his company work. And because his company's buying Ethereum and is based on the price of Ethereum, yeah, he has to cheerlead it. And he keeps making these bold predictions about where Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to be by the end of this year. And by the way, if they don't hit these numbers by the end of 2025, his credibility for market calling becomes less. And then I think it's just going to accelerate the downtrend in these treasury companies. Same thing for MicroStrategy, same thing for David Bailey, same thing for a lot of these influencers. And that's the issue here. right? We're already starting to fall in terms of the prices in the market. But everybody has had these bold predictions. By the end of 2025, we're going to hit $1 million. We're never going to have a bear market again. Nobody's going to be, everyone's going to keep buying. We're going to keep it being able to raise money. And that's been slowing down. And so if we hit the end of the year and none of these predictions come true, we're continuing the downtrend. They're just going to move the goalposts. Now, some people, yeah, the bulls, they're just going to keep, oh no, yeah, Michael Saylor was wrong on the timing, but he's not wrong on, his overall thesis. We're going from a 4-year to a 7-year to a 10-year cycle. But for a lot of people, they're going to be losing money. And they're going to, just start ignoring what these influencers are saying. And again, MicroStrategy. Even Sven Henrik, who's a well-known macro trader in the markets, he said this is an eye-opening chart. MicroStrategy has wiped out all the profits since 2024. And so a full year of upside has been completely wiped out. And now anybody who's bought MicroStrategy in the last year is underwater. But the MicroStrategy bulls keep pushing. No, it's not. We're not in a bear market. We're not moving into a bear market. We're guys. What do you call this? This is people have been buying and people have been losing their money, like quite literally. And it's, by the way, it's not just crypto. It's also stocks. You guys can see here, Charlie wrote this on X, percent below their 52-week highs. You can see Melania coin down 99%, Trump coin down 91%, Fart coin down 90%, Dogecoin down 67%, MicroStrategy 63%, Coinbase 36%, Ethereum 36%, Bitcoin 25%. By the way, this was posted in the middle of November. So if you're watching this like later on, there's going to be people who are bulls. They're going to say, but Cryptoviser, I'm looking at the chart right now and Ethereum is only down 34%. So this is wrong. And it's like, that is who we're trading against. That is who we're trading against. You can't make it up. You cannot. Meanwhile, the bulls are even capitulating. Arthur Hayes has been dumping more crypto, dumping over 5 million in crypto in just 24 hours towards the end of November. This includes 780 Ethereum, 5 million Ethena, 640,000 Lido, 1,630 Aave, 28,000 Uniswap, and 132,000 EtherFi tokens, all being sold. Now, why is he selling this? Probably rotating into other positions that he think are going to perform better, or pulling out of the market, right? Because at the end of the day, you're going to see more and more of this, and people are going to say, "Wow, this is bullish. This is bullish." It's like, no, it's not bullish. These are the final, they understand. Once the market starts falling, and again, this is not going to happen 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. This is going to happen over the course of 1 full year, starting in October, ending in September or October of 2026. So we still have a long way to go on the downtrend. And so you want to sell when you start to see the downtrend accelerating, because otherwise you're going to be selling down here at capitulation. And the people who sell down here, they're going to be losing 90% of their money if they haven't already done so. And again, my viewers, we've been so ahead of this. It's incredible how accurate we have been and how profitable these trades have been that we've made trading against these bulls. And that brings us to the Cardones buying even more Bitcoin. Now, we've been covering this story since the middle of the year. Now, Vivek on X said, while you were scared, Grant Cardone just placed an order to buy $90 million worth of Bitcoin. And Gary Cardone responded saying, once we move in, we do not deviate from the mission. Sounds a lot like Michael Saylor. Players like the Cardones are very different investors than you have paid attention to before. Not all business guys are reckless or short-term profit focused. The mature players focus on a strategy that make highly convicted, concentrated investments for longer-term explosive growth and a preservation of capital. Conviction is a learned skill. Now, I would agree with what he's saying and in the macro view, okay? But you are not the Cardones, and we are not the Cardones. The Cardones have, many different business lines, a lot of real estate, and clearly hundreds of millions or billions of dollars collectively, right? And so they're moving their assets, similar to what MicroStrategy is doing, right? People are missing the point that MicroStrategy is playing a much longer-term game, much, much longer term. I'm talking about like decades. And many of us, right, we want to protect that capital. And so we don't want to see 90% drawdowns. Even though if you're holding Bitcoin for the long term, I think you're going to be okay, right? Especially if you're thinking about like 10, 15, 20 years, your retirement, you're probably going to be okay because Bitcoin, I believe, is going to continue to go up. It's going to have diminishing returns as we've covered extensively, which you can clearly see here. Like the first year cycle percent gains were much larger than the second year. And the second year was much larger than, the second cycle. The third cycle was much less than the second, and the fourth cycle that we're in now, the percent gains are less than the previous cycle. And every cycle going forward, they're going to be less percentage gains than they are now because you're dealing with higher market caps, a lot more liquidity in the market, a lot more traders and people trying to pull profits from the market. So if you understand that, it's still going to go up, just like the stock market continues to go up throughout the course of time, right? But not every stock, not every crypto is going to continue to go up. And so if you have a long-term time horizon, yeah, probably this is a good strategy to just keep buying. But I think it's better to buy once we hit capitulation. And we haven't hit capitulation yet. Not at all. Meanwhile, talking about some influencers, Ansem posted this on November 14th. And remember, he was bearish. And then Twitter convinced him to become bullish on Bitcoin again. And then he bought the top of the market at $125,000, something like that. And that was literally the top of the market. I think that was October, not November. But anyway, he wrote in the middle of November, kind of concerned with how fast we're falling. We're selling off, but $88,000 to $91,000 Bitcoin is a great buy area on Bitcoin for a bounce at least. He's not saying that we're not moving into a bear market. He's just saying for a bounce. And I would agree. Like I keep saying to my viewers, like, the bulls are going to keep buying the dip, so they're going to keep the price elevated. The bulls prolong the bear market because they just keep buying the dip, right? If they just let the market drop, let the market do what it needs to do, we would hit the bottom much, much quicker. But they keep buying the dip, and we've showed this through the video. I mean, oh well, I bought at $3, then we went up to 15, then I came back down to under 3, and I'm so bullish. It's like, what? That's not how the markets actually work. But anyway, he ended up saying, I've decided that instead of doing this, meaning buying Bitcoin, that I'm going to bid Zcash instead. And that was November 14th. Okay, Zcash has been going on a tear recently. But again, this does, just because Bitcoin is moving into a bear market doesn't mean everything's going into a bear market. But just because Zcash is pumping doesn't mean that it's not going to dump. Meanwhile, he bought November 14th, right about here on the chart, so about $500, $600. Now, we are higher since when he purchased or said he was going to purchase, but how much higher do you think we're going to go? I mean, in the 1 year, we're up 200 and something percent. It's actually more than that. I don't know how this calculates. Oh, this is on the 1 month. Even on the 1 month. But anyway, you guys can see here. In September, we were at $50. So $50 to $75 is what? 14x, right? That's a big number. And this is literally looks like parabolic run. This is the banana zone that Raoul Pal talks about. This is euphoria phase in the market. To me, it's like, why would you buy it here instead of buying a few months ago? Like, if you're chasing, now you can profit on these bounces, profit on the pumps, but you have to be able to clearly have a strategy, right? I'm going to enter at 500. I'm going to exit at 600. I'm going to enter at 500. I'm going to enter at 650 or whatever the situation is, because otherwise you get caught up in the euphoria of it all, and then you never end up selling, and then we round trip back down, right? And the earlier you buy, the easier it is to sell on the downtrend because you're still in profit regardless, right? If you're buying the top, once you dip a little bit, it's very hard to sell without taking a loss. And that's really important to keep in mind as well. Am I trading the market? A little bit, right? Not as much in crypto because crypto is, most cryptos are just stagnant. And picking and choosing which cryptos are going to pump, right? Some of the cryptos have pumped. And then you have all of the bulls saying, see, Cryptoviser, you were wrong. You were wrong. And it's like, no, they don't even understand. Like, this is final liquidity exiting the market. And they're the ones pumping it. We've talked about this extensively with Internet Computer, that the minute we posted a video on this channel, ICP, I sold my ICP, all of a sudden, magically, the same day, we start an uptrend in ICP, 300% increase. And the bulls are like, you're going to regret this. You're going to have to buy back in higher. It's like, no, I'm not buying back in on a pump and dump. And I don't think anybody else on my channel is doing that either. Because I'm not saying that the crypto is like a scam pump and dump. I'm saying that the pump is a pump and dump, right? It's a fake pump. The same way that Zcash moving higher. Why is it moving higher? What fundamentally has changed in Zcash? Maybe something did, maybe something didn't, I don't know. But everybody buying in pushes the price up. But then if you bought at $50, right, or any time before $50, $30, $60, $70, you're up over 10x. You're not taking profits? I sure am. I sure am. Right? I'm not in Zcash, but if I was, I sure am. And so the other bull, they're taking profits too. And that is where you start to see the pump and then the dumps because retail gets over exuberant about the uptrend while the people who understand how these cycles operate, they're selling into those uptrends. They're selling into the retail buying up the market. And therefore, retail becomes the exit liquidity. And then they complain in the bear market that the whales took their money and they were the exit liquidity. It's like, yeah, that's how the markets work if you're buying the top of the market. But Cryptoviser, we're not at the top of the market. It's like we literally are at the all-time highs in well, maybe not in Zcash, but at least multi-year highs in Zcash, right? We're at record highs, multi-year highs. And people are like, no, Cryptoviser, we're not at all-time highs. Okay, then you do you. Meanwhile, we're also hearing about the Bitcoin treasury companies and Ethereum treasury companies like BitDigital. Now, you guys know BitDigital changed their entire thesis and business operations from Bitcoin mining to Ethereum treasury company and also began a data center company called Wi-Fi. And according to Matt Siegel, who's the head of digital asset research over at Van Eck, one of the financial institutions, said Wi-Fi's CEO says on BitDigital call that BitDigital will not sell any Wi-Fi shares, which is they own 70% of the stake, in 2026, despite February's lockup. Essentially saying that their lockup period for those shares after Wi-Fi went public earlier in 2025, that they're not going to sell any of those shares. So that means that if you own BitDigital, you also own 70% of Wi-Fi, right? In essence, right? I don't know if it's in actuality. I would have to look at the structuring of the deal. But regardless, these are two companies that you would probably want to look at. But again, that doesn't. They're trying to ease the market concerns about these lockup periods and about sell-offs. But either way, I mean, look at what happened with BitDigital, right? Middle of the year, they're changing to an Ethereum company. It runs up 100%, comes back down, goes back up, and it's come back down, right? 2 round trips, quite the big roller coaster. And the same thing has happened with Wi-Fi, White Fiber, which is their, I think it's like a data center fiber optic company, something like that. It has to do with like AI and data center compute, something like that. But yeah, there's a lot of money to be made in this market, right? But you have to be very aware of how these cycles operate, very aware of where the money is coming from, and also aware when is the right time to sell. Now, if you're holding for the longer term, in Bitcoin, I get it. In altcoins, we don't know what's going to happen in the longer term. In stocks, we don't know what's going to happen in the longer term. And just generally speaking, I think that there is significantly more downside in the market than most people are believing, right? Many of you guys, not so much, right? You understand where we are in the cycle. But these other bulls that continue to push this narrative that we're not going to have a bear market, that we're going to continue to go higher, this is who we're trading against. And so when they say Bitcoin highs next month, we laugh. When they say the cycle is extended, we laugh. Because even in a downtrend, when you look at the psychological market charts, the downtrend, which is going to be at least a year, right? Or about a year, I should say. They're like, this is the bottom. We hit the bottom after like 3 days of downside or 1 week of downside. No, guys, we've had a year and a half, 2 years of upside in these markets. We're going to have at least or around a year of downside in the market. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. We're trading against them. Don't forget to give this video a free thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and let me know what you think down below. We still have a lot of people that don't think that we're trending into a bear market, even though the literal market is telling you this, right? We trade the market that we have, not the market that we want. See you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.